So second year in Indica, right? How it's been with the teammate with Rival and Harvey? How helpful are they? Have been?
I would say both of them have been super helpful. Graham is super strong on ovals, and me not having an oval background from Europe and coming over here, I took a lot of advice from him, and even Jack. Jack has always been very strong on qualifying pace. Hasn't been the past 2 years, and I've been there. But it's when we go to a road course or a street circuit, I know what I'm doing. But when I go to an oval, especially in the beginning of last year, is just running blind, and I'll just take all the advice I could get.
Christian, John Chipley-Hill from the Canadian Press. My first question is maybe a weird one, but how exactly do you shave in Victory Lane? Like, what's that process look like?
We did shave it
Yeah.
off, didn't you? Yeah.
Victor and I
Yeah,
shaved
noticed
it.
that.
Yeah, we just had a barber and got rid of it.
And my second question is, from your perspective, what was the turning point of the race? Because there were a few leaders throughout the day.
I don't really think there was any. I do think that we had the race in control. Even though that we had to stop 3 laps earlier than the fuel window. I knew that Palo had a front wing damage, and I knew I would get past him, and then the cars ahead of him had to pit anyway, because they won't be able to make it either on tires or fuel. So at that point, I knew I had to overtake one car, and he was struggling. He had to save more fuel than I did, so it was kind of easy from there on. As soon as I got past him, I just took off. I had a fuel number to reach as well, and I got it pretty easy. I got a lot more than that, so it's been a pretty good day.
We have time for a couple more, Jack or Pat. Go ahead. This is a game changer for you. Getting that win. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And Bobby, you've seen this happen before. You've seen drivers. How do you now coach them on the next phase? You got that first win. How do you turn them into a repeat winner?
Now I have to tell you, from day one that Christian joined us, I was always impressed with his work ethic. He just, I think it's very clear he wants to win, and he puts the effort in that's needed, and whether it's on or off track, does great work with Hy-Vee. And they ask a lot, and rightfully so, but he's there, and Christian gets it. And he's a young guy, but he understands, and I think this win, all this does is when you as a driver, the first time you win a big race, it's like, okay, wow, I can do that, and I can do it again. And so this whole year, Christian's been just a joy to work with, because every day when you see Christian, you're going to get 100%, and that to me is what it's all about.
Mary, I didn't see your microphone. Go ahead, Mary.
Christian, you certainly looked like you, as you said, had the race under your control. But on the start, you have Scott McLaughlin starting in a Penske car, and yet it looked like you had several car lengths heading into turn 1. Is that from Honda Power, or just how did you know those tires were going to make that first turn and be able to keep him back there?
I mean, I started on the green Firestone, the softer tires, and he was on the primaries. And the primaries, at least for us, are quite difficult to activate. And the softer tires are always easier to activate, and they're faster. So we also had the game plan of we need to pull away as soon as we could in the first part of the race, and we did. I think we got up to around 5 seconds even after the yellow stint. So I think he was just struggling to build tire temp, and yeah.
We'll wrap it up.
Plus that I told